apparently Marvel has now announced that they're starting a new brand called Marvel Spotlight, which is going to focus on sort of standalone stories. Sort of. Now, look, I've been saying for a very, very long time that I wish Marvel had the testicular fortitude to try making some movies that are not connected to their overall cinematic universe. Remember back in the day, they actually used to make standalone superhero movies where Spider-Man was a unique entity in his universe, where Superman was a unique entity in his universe. There wasn't 7 superheroes on top of every 7-Eleven, patrolling for crime at night, right? Not that I prefer those over shared cinematic universe. I just didn't understand why you can't have both and. So I was thrilled when DC announced that they were doing like a separate universe standalone Joker movie. Like, why handcuff all your filmmakers and storytellers by saying whatever you do has to be completely consistent with the shared cinematic universe we have? Tell some interesting stories, and I've loved that. So I got kind of excited when I heard that Marvel was going to start this thing Spotlight for quote unquote standalone stories, but they're not really standalone. This comes to us from the folks over at Deadline who write the following. When Echo hits Disney Plus on January 10th, 2024, it will premiere under the new Marvel Spotlight banner, complete with a new intro logo, so it won't be the bum Marvel thing, scored by Oscar-winning composer Michael Giacchino, by the way, who also directed Werewolf by Night for Marvel. Anyway, essentially, the new subcategory of Marvel is a branding for standalone fare versus series and movies that connect to the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe. The subcategory gets its name from an anthology comic book series first introduced by Marvel in 1971, which featured new characters that the readers didn't have to fully commit to over several issues. Okay, so unless I'm misunderstanding something, and I might be, what this sounds like to me is not that this is going to be Elseworld stories like the Joker is or Robert Pattinson's Batman is. It sounds like it's what's going to be is that these are stories that, hey, if you've never seen anything else in the MCU, you can watch this. It's going to be very self-contained. Like, I believe it still happens within the MCU. I believe it's still going to have to adhere to the rules of the MCU. So, for example, yes, there has been an alien invasion. Yes, there has been this and there has been that. Like, it's a part of the MCU, but that it's a story that if you're just coming in cold, you should be able to sit down and watch. And in principle, I like that idea. I do. But while I like the idea in principle, it also kind of highlights a big problem with the MCU today. Because it used to be, not long ago, I would argue even right up to Endgame, that Kevin Feige used to make sure that every Marvel movie that came out was an opportunity as a valid entry point for any new fans. Mm-hmm. Like, you never saw the first Iron Man? No problem. You can watch the first Avengers movie. You won't get all the nuance, but you'll be able to jump right in and you won't feel lost at all. You never saw Guardians of the Galaxy 1? No problem. You can jump in and watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2. You'll miss some nuance, but you won't feel lost and hopefully you'll be motivated. Like, that was the genius of the MCU, that at every new project was an open door for new fans to come in and join the party, right? Unfortunately, that's not really the MCU anymore. It feels like every new project that comes out comes with an assignment of homework. Like, even the Marvels that's coming out. There are a bunch of people watching trailers saying, well, clearly this Ms. Marvel character and this Photon character, clearly these are important characters. And I know the one in the middle, I know the blonde girl, but I have no idea. I'm already lost. I'm watching a trailer and I feel lost. And that's kind of the thing. Like, there was just watching Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Good luck knowing which way was up if you didn't watch WandaVision, right? I mean, and that's just the way things are now. So while I like the idea, Sean, of them creating a new banner that says, hey, like, you can just come in and watch these stories. You're not going to feel lost. That's good. But it also makes me kind of lament of the fact that Marvel even needs something like that now, because before they didn't. I don't know. Like, we got Echo coming. Obviously, if you watched Hawkeye, you're going to have a better background of her, but I guess you won't need to have watched that for them to catch you up to speed. I don't know. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Rocket Money. Do you struggle to save money every month? With Rocket Money, you can quickly identify all those sneaky subscriptions that keep charging you month after month and cancel any you no longer use. For example, did you know that over 80% of people have subscriptions that they've completely forgotten about? It's too easy to subscribe to a free trial of something and then completely forget about it once you stop using it. That's why I'm such a big fan of Rocket Money. I've told you guys before that when I started using Rocket Money, I realized that I was still subscribed to a gym in another city I had moved away from 2 years ago. Also, my music service, I found out I was still subscribed to 2 others. How much do you think you're paying a month on subscriptions? Most people think they're paying $80 a month, but they're actually paying closer to $200. That's why I use Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. With Rocket Money, you can easily cancel the ones you don't want with just the press of a button. With over 5 million users and counting, Rocket Money has helped save its customers on an average of $720 a year and $1 billion in total savings so far. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/Campea. That's rocketmoney.com/Campea. rocketmoney.com/Campea. What do you think about this new, endeavor of theirs called Marvel Spotlight?
I got a lot of thoughts on this one. I mean, right off the bat, I think it's funny to me that they're like, this is our on-ramp, the one that you don't need to watch anything else. It's a spinoff from Hawkeye. It's a sequel to Daredevil. And you've got Kingpin with an eye patch, which is a clear event in Hawkeye. So it's like, okay, is this really the one where you don't need to see anything in the past? But it feels like, back in the last decade, they had Marvel ABC and they had Marvel Netflix, which those claimed the MCU, but Marvel Studios didn't really claim them. They were like the unwanted stepchild of the MCU. And then it feels like this is like, we want to do that, but it's official. And we're actually claiming this one to kind of be a part of our family. So I kind of like that. I mean, some of these projects I've loved, and I love the idea that there's things you don't need to watch, that they're more character-based, they can experiment more, they can go TVMA and have this bloody Marvel trailer and go, wow, that's cool. You won me over for Echo. That's awesome. Other side to this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You just created a sub-brand to spread yourself more out, to spread yourself more thin. One of the problems I have is that I don't know when I'm going to see Shang-Chi, Eternals, God Mode, Emilia Clarke, because we don't have enough time. There's too many of these little rabbit trails, and you just created a brand to do more rabbit trails. And I go, as individual projects, I might be excited about a bunch of these, but you're losing some of the magic of what worked so well in phases 1, 2, and 3, which was a tighter focus, clear goals and momentum, that next team up movie we're working towards, very clear stars, very clear characters that are heart of the MCU. And we don't have that now. And so I go, do I need a sub-brand that makes it easier to tell more stories that spread you out? I don't know. I don't know if that's the best decision in light of one of the things that I think is such a crucial problem of that lack of identity.
What did you think about, you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but you weren't here when the new Echo spot dropped. I'll be honest with you. I thought there was a good 20% chance they never even aired this show. And then all of a sudden they dropped the trailer. I've heard nothing good coming out of this show. And then they dropped the trailer, and Hawkeye made me less than zero interested in this character. And then they dropped this trailer that I'm not going to lie to you, you and I haven't talked about it, but like for me, it completely made me do a 180. Like all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, am I actually looking forward to the show? I think I am now. What the hell just happened? What did you think about the trailer?
Yeah, so I think the job of a trailer is to raise your excitement. No one was excited about Echo. And after the trailer, everyone's just like, what just happened? When did Echo become the most thing I'm most excited about in the MCU? It was a fantastic trailer, but is it cheating? Is it using borrowed trust? Because so many people are like, oh, I didn't realize Kingpin was going to be such a big focus in this. Did they use all of their primary Kingpin stuff? Did they make Kingpin the star of the trailer? when maybe he's not really the star of the show. And it looks cool, but it doesn't really sell you on Echo. It borrows my love for that version of Kingpin with blood, with violence. And so superficially, it's very easy for me to get excited if I get to see more of that. So it was a fantastic trailer, but there's a side of my brain that also goes, did you just cut a really good trailer because you know the bad buzz, you know people aren't excited, and you also know people adore Netflix Daredevil. And so you borrowed from it. You borrowed that trust and cut a trailer that feels like this is a continuation when it's not as much of a continuation. I loved the trailer. I hope that's what the show actually is.
They also face a little bit of a problem making the trailer, because I got into this discussion online with somebody who was saying, no, this is going to be terrible. And you know, it very well might be terrible. I'm not saying it won't, but they're saying this is going to be terrible because you could tell, because they didn't even make the trailers about Echo. It really focused more on Kingpin. I'm like, yeah, but you do know that Echo doesn't talk, right? It's really difficult to make a trailer and focus on one character when that character is deaf and doesn't speak. So you need somebody else to be the narrator of what they do. So you're right. They went ahead. They used Kingpin. It was a very good decision. But is Kingpin really truly a focal point of this story with Echo? Or is this Mission Impossible 2 where Anthony Hopkins was all over the trailers, but only in the movie for 2.5 minutes? I mean, so I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Either way, interesting move on their part to launch this new Marvel Spotlights thing using Echo to do it. We'll see if they actually pull it off. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.